Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Oh, it's so nice to see you, Cantor, and nice to see everybody who's here at our service this evening. Uh, what a gloomy day. It's been a gloomy day. We need Shabbat. It's been a gloomy week. We need Shabbat. You know, I've been thinking about a poem, a short poem by Bertolt Brecht. And the poem is called Motto. It's just 4 lines. And he writes, "In the dark times, will there also be singing? Yes, there will also be singing about the dark times." And so there's no getting around it. We've been living in dark times. And last week at Shabbat services, we were aching from a mass murder in Atlanta. And this week we are aching from a mass murder in Boulder, Colorado. All in the midst of a pandemic, and all while getting ready for Pesach, because Pesach comes tomorrow. And so we sing. And we're going to open with a special song that encompasses all that we're feeling right now. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. We will rebuild this world with love. And with love in our hearts, we light our Shabbat candles. For as these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Oh, hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to you. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen.
I feel better already. Let's turn to our singing of Lachadodi.
Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, panei panei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, panei panei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, panei panei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, panei panei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad, Hishmi'anu el hameyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem u'tiferet v'litchila la 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 lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, panei panei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, panei panei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mikor haberacha, merosh mikerem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat kala la 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 lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, panei panei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, panei panei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki ha'oref u'miori, u'miori she'taderi, kevod Adonai ha'elik nigla la 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 lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, panei panei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, panei panei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam besimcha u'sola, tochem u'ne'um segula. Boi chala, la 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 lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, panei panei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, panei panei Shabbat nekabela.
The sun is disappearing beyond the treetops. And we have already welcomed Shabbat with song and prayer. Our table is set, the lights are lit. Every corner of the house is shining now with a divine spark. Nivarech, let us bless. Ma'ariv Aravim, we say, as we thank God for creation itself. O author of life, architect of creation, artist of earth, your works declare your holy name. Mighty rivers, turbulent seas, towering mountains, rolling hills, vast space of brilliance and grandeur. You created palette and pain, color and hue, shape and form, abundant and beautiful, glorious and majestic, full of mystery and wonder. Blessed are you, O God. With divine love, you created a world of splendor.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu lemadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu B'shachveinu u'vekumeinu Nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha U'b'mitzvotecha Le'olam va'ed Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu Ve'orech yameinu Uvahem neged yomam v'layla Yomam v'layla Ve'ahavatecha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha B'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha Ve'hayu הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבדניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Michamocha, who is like you, O God, who created heaven and earth, from the big bang to the smallest subatomic particle? Who is like you, who set the planets in motion and brought their light to their moons? Who is like you, who painted the sky blue and gave us the means to appreciate it. Who is like you, who rustled up the air we breathe and the earth we walk? Who gave us legs to stand on, hands to touch, a face to love? Who is like you, making your present in our deepest conversations, giving us children to love and love us? Mi chamocha. We can almost taste the coming Passover, and we taste it with this mi chamocha.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osai b'alev.
Hashkivenu Adonai. We turn to our Hashkivenu prayer and pray that all may lie down in peace and that all may raise up in the morning to life renewed.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Leshalom.
May life and love be our shelter. Thank God for our synagogue, our community. Thank God for life. Thank God for love. Thank God for hope, which is the opposite of cynicism. Say, despite what is probable, all is possible. Say, we are only limited by our imagination. Say, the universe abundantly provides. Be like the sunflower. Scan the heavens for the light. Turn toward the light. Turn toward Shabbat in joy.
Yismechu v'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei onei Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei onei Shabbat. Mekadoshei, Mekadoshei
prepare for our Amidah, we reflect on these words of Wendell Berry. When despair for the world grows in me and I wake in the night at the least sound in fear of what my life and my children's lives might be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world, and I am free.
Adonai sefata tiftach ufi yagita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, V'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot Ve'imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah, Ata Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechaye Hakol Ata Rav Lehoshia, Mashiv HaRuach, Umarid HaGashem, Mechakel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye Hakol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Hasurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishanei Afar, Micha Mocha Bagivurot, Umidom Elach, Melech Meimit Umechayeh, Umatzmeach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atalach hayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kedoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu bi'amcha Yisrael, utfilatam bi'ahava tikabel, utihil ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. Ever present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, may we be worthy in our deeds and our prayer as we continue now with a moment of silent prayer. Shabbat Shalom. Once again, I am going to just take a moment to introduce our guest speaker this evening. Our hearts are in Boulder, Colorado. And because our hearts are in Boulder, Colorado, my heart is also with my rabbinic colleagues and friends in Boulder, Colorado. And Rabbi Jamie Korngold is a very special rabbi. She's also known as the Adventure Rabbi because in Boulder, Colorado, she takes advantage of every piece of God's beautiful Boulder earth. And she does B'nai Mitzvah on top of mountains, and she does Shiva Minyanim by the river and the brook. And she is the adventure rabbi, and her heart is broken as our hearts are broken. And I invite you to join into her broken heart as she shares these words with us.
I'd like to speak with you tonight about grief. We all deal with grief differently, but I'd like to share with you a process that my friend Tisha Schuller taught me. Unfortunately, I've had a lot of opportunities to use this recently, and I found it really helpful. Tisha likes to say, drop the story and feel the feelings. Sometimes I walk around all day and I say to myself, drop the story, feel the feelings, drop the story, feel the feelings. And I'm not dismissing the King Super story. I'm going to get there in a little bit. But first, when we're dealing with grief, it's really helpful to know what we're really, truly feeling deep inside. So here's my invitation. When you have space, when you have time, give yourself 15 minutes. Sit down in a chair. Just feel what you're feeling about this tragedy. I say 15 minutes because this work really hurts, but you can do it. I believe in you. You'll probably find at first that you have a jumble of feelings going on, and you're going to need to sort through them. The first ones that are going to jump out at you are the big emotions, like anger and rage. And they call those secondary emotions because although they grab your attention, they like attention. There's always a core or a root emotion that's deeper down. So keep digging. You'll know when you get there. For me, when I find my core emotion, I feel like I'm breaking open and I weep. Everyone experiences it differently, but you'll know when you're there. Now, I don't know why this is, but it seems like once you found your core, your root emotions, and you pay attention to them, it softens a little bit. It makes it a little easier to cope with. For me, my core emotion in the face of this tragedy is I feel vulnerable. I feel vulnerable for my children, for my neighbors. I don't have to recite a list. You probably have the same list as I do. I feel vulnerable for all of us. So let's talk about vulnerability. It turns out that vulnerability is the source of your power. Vulnerability is the seat of your power. Let me explain. The meaning of life is love. Full stop. The meaning of life is love. We experience, unfold, nourish, explore love through relationships. But to be in deep relationship, you have to open your heart. Opening your heart makes you vulnerable. And when you're vulnerable and tragedies like this happen, it hurts. But here's the thing. Your vulnerability is what powers your relationships. And your relationships are what make life worth living. We rabbis like to call these heart-to-heart relationships I-thou relationships, which is a term that was coined by the theologian Martin Buber. He said that when two people interact at that heart-to-heart level, we experience God in the world. He contrasted those relationships with I-it relationships, ones in which we're using the other person to get something done. Now, when I started to teach Buber's theology about 30 years ago, I offered the example of best friends being I, thou, and the cashier at the supermarket, I-it. When I moved to Boulder 20 years ago, and I started shopping at the Table Mesa King Soopers, I realized my example was wrong. I have experienced many I-thou relationships at our neighborhood grocery store. And not just the ones you would expect with my neighbors over the apples or in front of the cheese counter, although there have been plenty of those. The reason that this King Soopers is in many ways the heart of our neighborhood is because of the employees. We know them, and they know us. Those of you that shop there, you know Ian, the bagger. We all watched him go through high school when this was an after-school job for him. We knew how excited he got for Fairview Grames, and we were proud of him when he graduated from high school and became a full-time bagger. Ian may not know who I am, but I know who Ian is. And how about Clint, another bagger who's been there for years? Maybe he helped you get your groceries to your car when you had your hands full with your kids. Clint is retiring soon, and he jokes that the store will not stand without him. I lovingly tell him that I agree. Many of you might remember Toba. Now, what a fascinating woman Toba was. Toba was a wealthy woman who retired and became a bagger at the Table Mesa King Soopers because she wanted to be part of that community. The community that is King Soopers on Table Mesa, not just the employees and not just the neighbors, but all of us together. I sat with Toba when she died. I did her funeral and her husband Joel's. May their memories be for a blessing. This is the community of King Soopers on Table Mesa. We know them and they know us. Did you know that the first person to know that I was moving out of my marital home was Brenda, the cashier? I had 2 carts filled, and she noticed. I had never needed 2 carts before. I was outfitting a new household. She asked. I answered. I cried. She welcomed me to my new life. She told me it would be okay. And how about the time my mom, who lived across the street from King Soopers, got lost in the dairy aisle? And they called me to come and get her because they noticed her and they knew who I was. I could go on like this with stories about Denise and her grandkids, Steve and Andrew and Tassia, and on and on. We have lost 10 neighbors. It hurts. So here is what I want to say to you today. The meaning of life is love. We experience love through relationships. To be in relationship, we must be vulnerable. Being vulnerable hurts. Still, I choose love. Thank you.
It's hard to know what to say. But she's in our prayers, and the families of the murdered are in our prayers. All of Boulder is in our prayers. We ache with them. And one large Misha Berach for each of them. May the God who granted healing in our world to our ancestors grant healing to the people of Boulder and to us and to all the world as we go toward our Misha Berach. And we also include in our Misha Berach this evening, Jack Davis, Bonnie Stoddard, Josh Lipschutz, Patty Hayes, Joan Sidney, David Char, April D'Amato, Rich Halperin, Andrea Schaffner, Rachel Batova, Alan Rosenthal, Deborah Poulin, Gail and Sam Feidelberg, Dolly Weinzimmer, Teresa Regina Ambrosino, Bill Spinelli, Gloria Newell, Sabin Meyer, Ben Peck, Martha and Mark Potter, Indiana Peck, Kathy Cooper, Lance McNeil, Jess Frisch, Sydney Scher, Bart Young, Matthew Pincus, Lisa Katz-Boglino, Amy Ostreicher, Eric Weiler, Diane Hinson, Ken Silberstein, Andrea Waite, Nikki Bart, Sue Yeris, Tina Chamak, Ira Weiss, Elizabeth Powers Brown, Mariel Sheepers, Sarah Bryant, Jennifer Murphy, and Betsy Carlson. And all those who you would include in our Misha Berach this evening, please do as we sing together. I have a couple of announcements before we continue in our service. A reminder, I hope we'll see you all at our live Zoom Oneg this evening at 8 o'clock. And again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for Torah study. And of course, we know Passover begins tomorrow. I hope that you all have beautiful Seders on the first night, Saturday evening. And I know you're going to have a beautiful Seder on the second night. If indeed you join us for Seder, we would be delighted. For TBT, we'll be hosting its Seder on Sunday, March 28th at 6 p.m. And everybody is welcome. The Zoom table can fit any size crowd, and you don't have to RSVP. All links to those events are in your inbox. Another reminder, this coming week, Wednesday, March 31st at 7:30, you really don't want to miss this special program. We're delighted to present Jewish Journeys as part of our TBT programming, and we're going to hear about the Jewish journeys of two members of our synagogue, Helena Shanzer and Joshua Hatton. They both have extraordinary stories to tell, and we'll be enriched to learn from their life experiences. That's Wednesday, March 31st at 7:30 p.m. And then next Friday, we're in the month of April. And so we have our first Friday Shabbat service at 6 p.m. live on Zoom, a family-friendly service, and we'll see you back then. And Shabbat Shalom and Chag Pesach Sameach. Hope you find the Afikomen. We're going to continue in our service with Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'teit gedula le'otzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. וככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד.
It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch, a fearful thing to love, hope, and dream, to be, and oh, to lose. A thing for fools, this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing, to love what death has touched. At this time, we remember those in our community who passed away in the last 30 days. We remember Louise Higgiston, dear friend of Hattie Sussman, and we remember Dr. Charles Barr, beloved member of TBT and husband of Margot Marin. We remember as well those for whom we observe Yortzeit: William Fogel, Dr. Diane A. King, Stephen Cohn, Israel Levy, Esther Merkin, Emmerich Oldbaum, Saul Babin, Lillian Dolgan, Andrea Kevrick, Marion Kahn, Al Streitfeld, Ann Coran, Ann Malo, Nathan Weiss, Max Ottenheimer, and Anita Shannerman. Please take a moment to say out loud those for whom you as well are observing Kaddish as we say together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala uv'izman kari v'imru, Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam olamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei kodesha b'richu, la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiram bi'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. May the one who makes peace in the high heavens make peace for us, for all who mourn, for all Israel and all the world. As together we say, Amen.
Amen.
And our closing song. So, Cantor, I thought we should do something special for Passover. You have anything up your sleeve?
I do, yeah. I've got a good Passover tune for us. So I'll teach you your words. Your words are going to be those famous words that Moses said to Pharaoh, "Let my people go." When Israel was in Egypt land, let my people go. They worked so hard they could not stand. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down to Egypt land. Tell all
Indeed, may that wish come true for all people everywhere. Let my people go. Let our people go. May all people be free to laugh, to sing, to love, to hope. A Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach.